first thing I did was the contingency contract, which I already presented in class. For functional skills, I did a word and then a picture on the back. So for this one it says stop, and then there's a picture on this back with a stop sign. The next thing I did for study skills was a poster for reading comprehension that has writer on it. For language skills, I already presented, this was one of my Mercer activities. It's build a sentence, so there's different parts of a sentence, and then you can Velcro it on here and take it off. The next thing I did was World War, which I also did for one of my Mercer activities that I presented in class. The next thing I have is the valve spinner. So the kids will get these cards, and then here's the spinner, and then they'll spin it, and whatever valve it lands on, they'll fill out the card. Let's see, the next thing I had was a Go Fish game. So on here, there's different cards with pictures, and if the kids get 3 of a kind, then that's a match. The next thing I had is word baseball. So all the words are either 1 syllable, 2, 3, or 4. So the kids can either pick whether they want a single, double, or triple. And then I'll flip the card over and they have to be able to pronounce it and say what syllables there are in the word. The next thing I have is synonym lotto. So there's all these words on the sheet, and then the kids have to pick a card, and they have to be able to match it up with the right word. So small is also little, so then they'll keep doing that with all the cards. The next thing I had was a math game. So it's greater than less than, so the kids have to be able to look up a number and circle it on the card, and they'll put whether it's greater than or less than. So they'll do 5, so they'll circle where 5 is, and then the next one is 3, they'll circle where 3 is, and either put a greater than or less than sign there. The next thing I have is place value cards. So there is a number on one side of the card, and then there's a place value on the other side. So there's hundreds, tens, and ones places, and then they have to put tallies in each of these to put what the number is. The next thing I had was a counting game. So these go up 1 through 10. So there's 1 here, and on the back there's only 1 picture. And then for like 10, there's the number 10 on the back. They can count 10 fish. The next thing I had was learning ladders, and it's to practice the different factors. So all of these are divisible by 4, and then all these numbers are being multiplied by 4, and then all these numbers are being subtracted by 8. So they're able to practice all the same numbers. Let's see. The next thing I had was a visual display for social studies of the court system. So they're able to look at the Supreme Court and then go to federal and state, and then all the courts underneath them are listed, so they're able to look at this. One other thing I had for written expressions was Find a Word, which I presented in class, which was a board game. The other thing I had was a board game that I made up. Here's my board, and it has start, and then move forward, go back 2. So the kids have to roll the dice, and then they have to be able to answer the multiplication problem, and if they get it right, then they can move forward that number of spaces. If not, then they have to stay where they're at. And the last thing I came up was a counting folder game. So the numbers are all over here, and then there's pictures. So the kids will have to take the number, and then they'll have to match it up with a picture. So there's 2 smiley faces, so the number 2 would go here. And then there's 5 flowers, so then the number 5 would have to go here. And then they'll just do that with all the numbers. And then when they're finished, they can go ahead and move it back. And that's all my games.